on the road to recovery now. I'm on the road to recovery now. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Hey, But What Do I Know? We're still on the theme for Road to Recovery. The album is officially out, so you should have a better understanding after the conversations we had, as well as from what the content of the album was, what we're here for. But super excited because we're still in the journey and we're still growing. And we have a very special guest, someone that I was able to share blood, sweat, and tears with, and someone who is still leading the community, whether it be from a global standpoint or just from his grassroots. But I don't want to take the thunder from him. I'm going to pass it over to him now to introduce yourself.
How y'all doing? I'm Kenny Harper. I work government contractor in Intel. And in 2020, when the world was on fire, I was stuck in Iraq.
Like, how do we even transition out of that? There's nothing I can say. Like, a lot of people and hip hop stars make songs about being in Chirac or their place being a war zone, but you were actually in it. So without further ado, want to kind of tap into what it was like for you from a mental standpoint. Everyone in the world was thinking they're in a, I guess you could say, within a fire because they're in solitary confinement. They want to call it at home during COVID, but you're actually in a war zone in the year when the world was on fire. Yeah. So kind of tell us what your experience was like over in Iraq.
So kind of started off. All right, so I got there as soon as the new year cracked off. A lot of stuff, if you guys follow the news, popped off with Iran. We're having tensions with Iran. So soon as I was landing, they were like, listen, man, it's crazy. I was just landing in Erbil. They're like, hey, it's crazy. A lot of stuff is going on. You guys need to prepare. It's going to be a rough little, I was only supposed to be out there for 4 months. It's going to be a rough little 4 months. So I was like, all right, cool. Too easy. Hit the ground running. First 2 months, it was good, man. January, February was good. I was out there working out, man. Everything was smooth. Then we start hearing little tremblings about COVID this, COVID that, and everybody's like, all right, man, whatever. People thinking it's like, all right, like the swine flu, bird flu, or something like that. One of those things is like, all right, it's in China. It's not going to affect anybody, right? It's just going to affect the Chinese, and that's it. And then it gets to like spreading, boom, 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 boom. So everybody's like, hey, man, it's getting crazy. So May hits. And really when I knew something was crazy, when the stock market like completely crashed. Like the stock market went crazy, and I was watching. I was like, "Dang!" In my mind, I'm like, "All right, cool. This is a little temporary. This is how I make my money, right?" Everybody talk about this dip. This is '08. I was like, "I'm gonna make some bag, right?" But it was way deeper than that. And at the time, we were stuck on, not stuck on the base. We kind of closed in on base in this. How do we say? It was like being in prison without being in prison, if that makes sense. We're in this square box, right, with probably 12, 14 foot fences that you couldn't see over, see in, see out. And that's kind of how it was. Nobody really had any information. Everything, we kind of were shut out from a lot of things. We kind of like heard things from, family members, what was going on, COVID this, and nobody knew. It was kind of like people were dropping like flies. And it was scary. Just because for me, having a family, being back home and I couldn't do nothing about it. My daughter, she just turned 1 at the time. I was like, man, I'm scared. So it was crazy. That's how it was for most of the time. And nobody knew. It was like, if you coughed, people were like, oh shoot, you gotta go. Like, that's how it was, especially us being out there. We're supposed to be out there defending the country, right? But it's like we're defending the country and we got to defend COVID and watch out for this, that, and the third. So it was crazy. It was a lot of stuff going on. It was very heavy on the mental. It's very taxing on the mental, just because you try to focus and do your job. Because work 18-hour shifts, right? 18-hour shifts, no days off, 7 days a week, right? 18-hour shifts, and then you still worrying about your family at home. So
that's a lot for anyone to have on their shoulders. But
yep.
there are some things you spoke on that I definitely want to tap back into. And one is the idea of being scared. But honestly, the fact that you had the conversation with yourself and kind of built up the courage to even acknowledge that you're scared. As Black men in our culture, that's kind of a masculine thing to say, like that you're not above something or that you're actually vulnerable. And I truly believe that through vulnerability and reflection that we can all heal together. So in terms of being scared, at what point were you able to actually verbalize to yourself before you even verbalized to anyone else that you were scared while over there, and kind of walk us through those emotions and feelings?
Well, to be honest with you, the first time I was scared was when they said, I don't want to go too crazy, when they said we was about to get striked. Like where we were staying in our compound, we were about to get striked with like IDF. And when they said that, I was like, oh. You know what I mean? I was like, yo, I ain't trying to, I'm still young, I ain't trying to die. You know, I live a great life, I ain't trying to die. It wasn't until one night, I would say maybe like April, May. It was just, I was talking to Tosh on the phone, and I heard a boom, 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 get up. This is not a drill, get up. So we had these bunkers right outside so we're living in Chews, right? Probably like, it's literally like a box, probably 8 by 6 feet, like there. Got a little twin size bed, got a dresser and a nightstand. That's it. Right. So we're in there, they boom, boom, it's not a drill. So I'm like, oh, I gotta go. Hang the phone up. I get out and people were like panicking, like we're going into the bunkers. And I was like, oh, shit. So I started praying. I was like, listen, Lord, I thank you for everything, to make sure my family good. And that was the first point that I knew. I was like, damn, this is what it feel like to really be scared. Like I'm scared. Like normally most times you're like, I'm good, man. Like everybody talk tough. But when it comes up to it, you like, hey, this really gonna be it. And it's not like, oh, somebody's like, oh yeah, you get shot, I can run away. You can't run away from no missile. You know what I mean? So like that was the first time I was scared. And then after that it was kind of like it just added on weight because it felt like tension was getting crazy. Then you see stuff on the news with Trump at the time was like, hey, if they do something to our troops, we're gonna do something back. I was like, bro, I don't do nothing at all. Like I don't want to do nothing. Like, right. You know what I mean? I can't replace my life. So yeah, that's the first time I really felt like I was scared. Like I could feel it. So you had that immediate fear, but you make it through. So once you got through that experience, kind of walk us through, did that kind of ease tensions in terms of like with the COVID and everything you're dealing with? Because like you're over there trying to defend the country, which is the most honorable thing ever. But you're the provider of your family. You have a daughter, you have especially someone, not sure if you have a wife. So you have wife and kids back at home, but also you're defending your country. But also they're actually having a battle at home that you're not really there tangibly to direct them through. It's like in I guess you could take instructions over the phone, FaceTime. It's not the same as in terms of being there and being able to physically lead them through this. So what was that like on your mental in terms of you have your own physical battles and trying to protect your life, but trying to make sure they survive as well for the battle they have at home? Yeah, it was kind of like a double whammy because you have that, of course, what you're going through physically in that present moment. And then you also have that like, man, my family is vulnerable, which is making me vulnerable, right? I can't do anything for them. Like Tasha's like, all right, she wants to go to the store, but my daughter, she just turned 1, so it's hard to take her to the store because everybody's like, no, you can't have your infants, like different things like that. It was kind of like I just felt helpless. So that was kind of like that was weighing a lot hard on me for sure. Like I try to reach out to my peoples that I had a coaching staff I was coaching high school with, like them to try to help out. Like, hey man, can I do this? And they're like, yeah, they was working with us. Or working with me, like helping out because they knew I was across the water. So I definitely appreciate them for that. But that was weighing heavy on me because I felt like I couldn't do anything. Like I can tell Tosh, hey, do this, do that, but I couldn't do anything. Like I was like, I'm literally can't do anything. I'm across the water. Like,
right. So relationships are hard anyway. Like they're constant work, especially marriage. Anyone who is married understands that that's where the work begins. The day you say I do. Like I do promise to put in the work. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what it's like. So in terms of that, what are those conversations like? between you and Tasha in those moments of vulnerability, those moments of where you're feeling less than, like, what is that support system like for both of you, whether it be you supporting her to get her through her daily struggles and journey, or vice versa, when you're there actually dealing with fighting for your life?
Yeah. So with her playing at Temple as well, like being an athlete, she kind of understands like the mental resiliency, like know how to be mentally strong. So she was a great support system, right? Helping me get through, the everyday struggles, like understanding where I was at. And then I try to she tried to keep me calm, because she's like, listen, I understand where you're at, you need to focus on where you're at. But at the same time, I was focusing on her. But I know she felt the same way, because not only were you dealing with COVID, you were dealing with stuff that you hear on the news about, hey, Iraq this, Iraq that. So it was heavy on her mental too, because I had to calm her in the fact that like everything you see on the news is not true, right? There's a lot of propaganda, there's a lot of things they pop up and make it bigger just to create a story. So I had to calm her in that. So we're kind of helping, or not kind of, we definitely were helping both of each other in different aspects. She was helping me here, and I was trying to help her there, like mentally. But definitely her being an athlete, understanding like, as sometimes you're going to have to embrace the suck and power through, definitely helped.
So something you brought up, and we're going to go back into the sports realm in a bit, but I want to talk about, there's two things that I thought were important. You said you were coaching with a staff that while you were over the water, they understood your situation and were helping you, but also you have a wife who was helping you through. So for anyone who's in life, whether you are trying to build a business or artistry or whatever you're doing, I think it's truly important that you build a executive office or a board, or like executive board that kind of helps you through your decisions. So how was it that you built out your support system? Like, who all was a part of the support system in your daily support system, or decisions you made, whether it been from when you were a kid to when you were in the military to our sports? Like, what has been your foundation to helping you get through these adverse situations?
For sure, my mom, like without a doubt, my mom, she a warrior. She's in the Army too, right? But she's like a dog. She a dog, man. Like I'm talking about Temple tough dog. She just built different. I've seen her power through and do a lot of different things, and she kind of showed me the ropes of like how you get through hard times in your life. Like I've seen her go through a lot of crazy things that like a lot of people, not just women or men, like people in general across the board that couldn't make it through. So when I saw her, the things I saw her do, it kind of prepped me to be like, man, I could do it. And then I would tell it back to Temple days. Like, I don't care what anybody say. Some of the stuff that we did at Temple, it should be on a 30 for 30. Like, we did some of the craziest things I've ever seen or done in my life. And it prepped me mentally, right? To always like, all right, man, when you think you don't have enough, you got a little bit more. When you don't think you have enough, you got a little bit more. And like, those two things right there helped me, along with my stepfather, and my pops as well. But my stepfather, like talking to me, because he was in the Marines. He had to be on deployments and different things like that. So he understands the daily grind, the daily battle. So me telling him where my mental space is at, and him understanding because he was there as well, that definitely helped out a lot too, and maybe and comfort me. So yeah,
definitely. I want to go back to your mom. Like, what were some of the lessons she taught you growing up that kind of helped you for these moments of adversity? But also, you said there were certain things she went through that you don't know if anyone can kind of deal with and be as perseverant or be successful as they were. What were some of those things? Without getting too personal, but the understanding of the background of that situation, of that relationship?
I would say she's a firm believer. Is like, you get it done or you don't. There's no in between. There's no I tried. There's no none of that. You either get it done or you don't. So it's one of the two. And a lot of people, especially in today's society, everybody gets a participation trophy. Everybody, like, she's like, nah, it's not like that. Did you win or did you lose? Because that's what it is. And for me, it taught me that at an early age. Like, she hear that she's gonna be mad, but when I was younger, we used to play Tetris. Like 6 years old, 5 years old, we playing Tetris on the game, and she used to tear my ass up, like tear me up. Boom, who's your mama? Who's your mama? Right? And it used to make me mad, but it gave me that competitive fire to always keep pushing, to never settle, right? Because she will always like challenge me more and more. And like from a game setting to see her do that in real life, like I've seen her work 4 jobs. I've seen her like not get any sleep, like challenged me to be a better brother, because I had a little sister at the time. Be a better brother, take care of her. You know, I still won't forget the craziest story. This is my sister's senior game. She playing basketball. We were living in California at the time. My mom's like, she just worked like a double, didn't get any sleep. She told my sister, we're gonna be there, right? She's supposed to walk my sister across, you know how it's for basketball for the last game. Yeah. We get in a car crash right outside of school, like right at the light. Like gunner, car total, everything. And we grab all the stuff out, like my little sister's in the back, everybody's like kind of emotional and all that. My mom's crying, right? I've never seen my mom cry like that. So I was like, dang. We go to the game still. It's crazy. We carry everything we had. We had like sacks of all the stuff packed in the trunk because it was hard. Like we didn't have a lot of stuff, right? So we just took it there in the game, and then we get back home and my mom's just in there crying. Like I'm like, dang, what we gonna do? She's like, I don't got a car to get to work. I don't got any money. Like what I'm gonna do? And from that point on, she just had a little night and then turned into dog mode. And after that, like she just started chopping away. And then next, you know, she went to work her ass off, got a car, got this, boom, got everything. And then before you know it, we were back to a place where she could still go. And then she's like, listen, I got to change my environment to be better. So then that's when we left and we came to Florida. Then she got into the military and then that was it. And ever since then, she never looked back. But I know I talk to her about that sometimes and it hurts her inside, right, that we had to go through that. But she knows that, like, that's what made us all tough. You know what I mean? Thick skin, so.
Definitely. Like, your story is phenomenal. And there's so many parallels, and I don't want to steal from your thunder because it's about you right now. But my mom was military as well. My mom was hit by a truck in the military. I'm talking about couldn't walk. And I'm talking about someone who was damn near paralyzed, but still made shit happen. I'm talking about 4 jobs, making sure we never wanted for nothing. And like you seriously can see her that she's struggling. But she's making sure that you never had to feel that. You know what I'm saying? Like, like that shit always gave me tears hearing your story because it's just like, it's something about like a mother's love or like the things that they are able to just push through because like the average person ain't doing.
No.
But I do want to kind of go back into the Temple days and your sports and like to get a true foundation of who you are as a person because sports is a big part of who you are. Yeah. And a couple of things I want to talk about as well, but I want to go back to your sports journey first before we get into that. Kind of walk us through who Kenneth Harper is, the athlete. So what sports you played, kind of how you got into it, and what was like the peak of like your sports level?
Okay, so I've always been one outside, man. Like the kids these days, I don't understand why they don't go outside. I've always been outside, like all playing all different sports. So I didn't play any sports until I got to middle school. I played football for the first time, and because I always thought I was a basketball player. Like growing up, I did a little basketball at AAU a couple of times, but I was like just in the park and stuff. So 7th grade, I played, and then everybody was just like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna be nice, right?" Like high school coaches was coming like, "Oh yeah, you can come play here." And my mom is like one of those people that she don't get high or low. She even kills. So she was like, "All right, whatever you want to do." She always used to tell me like, "If you want to go AAU, you want to do all that, you need to make it happen because I ain't giving you no money." So then I always have to try to, you know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, cool. So long story short, I get to 9th grade. So I was playing 8th grade at the time. I was decent in ball 8th grade. I'm going to 9th grade. I'm like one of the top 9th graders in the state of Florida for basketball. So I'll go play for Florida Elite. My coach at the time, he said, all right, cool, man. Head straight. I said, I'm going to the NBA. I told him, right? 5'11", I'm going to the NBA, bro. It's over. Like, I'm one of the top in the state. It's a wrap. Long story short, I do that. I get to the second week of freshman year. The offensive coordinator at the time, Coach Whip, he said, "Hey man, I heard you good at football. Why you not playing football?" I said, "Man, I'm going to the league." He's like, "What?" He said, "You going to the league?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to the NBA." He said, "You can play football too." I was like, "Nah, man, that's gonna break my focus." He said, "Why can't you do both?" He said, he started telling me all these great athletes that could do both.
Yeah, they always do.
All right, so he told me that, and I was like, all right. You know what I mean? Because I remember driving on the bus and seeing all the players on the football field. I was like, dang, man. And then I went to one game and everybody's all, oh my God, look at him. Da, da, da. I was like, oh yeah, come on, man, I could be on there. So long story short, I go out there, and people was pissed. I go out there, I don't even touch freshmen. Nah, I just do straight JV. I played JV a little bit, then went to varsity. So everybody's like, what the hell? Like, how you come in here? He ain't do no summer camp. He ain't do no training, did nothing. And I went out there and I played. Then my coach, basketball coach, didn't like it. I played varsity basketball, so I've been playing varsity both. I'm thinking I'm the man. I'm like, I'm a freshman playing varsity. The whole 4 year, varsity. And then my senior year, or my junior year, that's when I started. I went all state my sophomore year, second team all state in Florida. Then I started getting a little pub. Like everybody's like, hey, getting all like letters, all that stuff coming in. Junior year, I go first team all state. Then it was a wrap. Then they were like, hey man, you want to go for basketball? What you love, but football is gonna be your ticket. So then at that point in time, funny thing, Coach Adazio, I've known Coach Adazio since 6th grade. Me and Louis, his son, played together, right? So Coach Adazio was watching. He was at Florida at the time. Boom, boom, boom. He's helping me get like more looks and stuff. And I called it like a day on football. I mean, on basketball. I just said, all right, cool, man. Football, I guess it is. Right? I always loved basketball, but football was like, all right, man, I guess it's my way. Then Coach Adazio, at the time, I had a couple little offers here and there, and he came. And he was like, hey, man, listen, I'm going to go to 3 schools. Wherever I go, I want you to come with me. I was like, all right, whatever. So then I never heard about Temple. I went to Temple. He had it up. Like he laid it all out for my mom. And she was like, oh my God, this is where I wanted you to be. He told my mom, hey, Ingrid, I would watch your son go across the stage. He would graduate. She's like, and then before I know it, Florida boy up in Philly. And then I did my 4 years at Temple. It was great. A lot of bumps and bruises, right? A lot of like, hey man, I feel like I should be getting a rock more. I'm not. I gotta split. But it is, man. Like all my brothers, man. Temple guys are my brothers. Like blood, sweat, and tears. We went through so much. And then my senior year, I got hurt. Didn't have a great year. I didn't even think I was gonna get a shot to go to the league, and I ended up getting a shot at the Giants. Got a tryout. I went there. I went on the team to the first week, and then didn't make cuts, and then that was kind of the wrap. Some other little like agent stuff reaching out old teams here and there, but my mental was just shot, to be honest with you. Like people like always say, man, you could play longer, you could playing longer, but it's like my mental was done. Like I was like, man, I was a little sick that I didn't make it. So football for me was it, and then I went to a dark space. So yeah.
No, thank you for sharing that part of your journey, but I do want to tap in now where you say you went into a dark space because your mental was shot. So mentally, what was that transition like from like the thing that I felt was like what my value was in the world is now done. Like I don't have anything to do with that road anymore. So now I'm starting from scratch. So that's where you enter the dark stage or the place of, I guess you could say, heartbreak, depression, whatever you want to call it. Like, let us know what those feelings and emotions were like, and kind of how are you going day to day during that time?
So when anybody that get a shot in the league, right? You got people coming out the woodworks that you never even heard of. Like that shit is so true. Like I had everybody reaching out to me. Oh my God, Kenny, this is that. You feeling like the man, right? You got females, you got doggone people that didn't like you, now they love you now. You got doggone family members. Everybody, they like pumping you up. Like that's true. And when you are feeling that or you're going through that phase, you feel you still like, okay, this is my everyday life. You start feeling yourself a lot. But then when that's taken away and people look at you and they're like, oh, you just like me, you regular, bro. Then it get quiet. Like you go from all this noise to now it's quiet. And then you're like, how do I deal with that? And I know a lot of my boys, like as well, like has went through that. And I try to be there to help them explain it because nobody explained it to me, right? Everybody's kind of like, man, you keep pushing. But like that period right there, you go from a lot to nothing is one of the darkest moments because you really feel alone. Like really feel alone. Like, so, yeah, that was just crazy there. So I don't even know I just lost my train of thought. So.
Nah, you're good. So I want to keep into that idea of being alone. In terms of that, a lot of times when you feel alone, that's when you tap into vices. Mm-hmm. So were there any vices or struggles you had during that time that kind of allowed you to escape that space of feeling alone? Or did you just kind of thug it out like throughout that time?
Nah. Easily, I went through a lot of like injuries. So in Temple, I was, everybody, I don't know, you probably don't know this either. They used to call me Perk. So I used to like take Percocets, right? Just because it used to make my body like have no ache. So when I was done, I started turning to that, right? And I know people, they're gonna hear this and be like, what? Kenny, what? Like I started turning to that. I was taking perks. I was drinking a lot just because I was trying to escape the reality of like, you done with ball, like it's done, right? Even though I still probably had a chance, mentally I was done. So it's like, you're done with ball. So I was trying to escape that reality instead of embracing it and you know, attacking it head on, be like, all right, cool, done with ball. What you gonna do now? Like, what you gonna do now? I wanted that so bad to go back to having like all the noise that I was so uncomfortable with being quiet. And it wasn't until I went through some stuff, I had like a little coming to Jesus moment, cried about it, and I just asked God for help, to be honest with you. And then at that point, it was kind of like, all right, it was kind of like God was saying, you wasn't asking for no help the whole time. You thought you could do it by yourself. Now you see that you need me. So since you see that you need me, I'm gonna show you the way. So then from that point, I was there, and I was in Jacksonville at the time. So Mom, I'm gone. Like Tosh was staying out in Arizona. I said, all right, cool, I'm moving out to Vegas. And I moved out to Vegas, and it gave me that time to kind of like disappear. Like I got off social media, nobody saw me. Like unless you hit me up on my jack, you didn't know where I was. I was poof out of it, right? And then for probably a 2 years time frame, to 2017, I struggled with that. Like, hey, it's okay. It's okay not being that guy. It's okay being regular. Like you wanted to be regular before, but now that you are regular, you don't want to be that. You want to go back to where it's before. You know what I mean? It's kind of like one of those things. So you you get what you ask for. So I got that. And for 2 years, I kind of struggled with that. And then that's what led me in 2017 to join the Army. Like I joined the Army because I was looking for that brotherhood again. I was looking for like, all right, let me get back to who Kenny Harper is, who Kenneth Harper is. Like, let me get to my real self. And in that time, like we talked about before, like I struggled with a lot. Because you know at Temple we were eating good, healthy, all that. I was a fat ass. Like I was just eating everything. I let my body go to shit. Like it was just like I don't care. Like I don't care.
Attest to that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't care. Like what? Who cares? Like that's how my mentality was. And you know that's kind of that whole dark period right there.
I think the most beautiful thing about all this is that we're able to talk about these times where we were in these places, because the beauty of it is you're not there anymore.
Yeah.
So I know one thing you mentioned that was very, very important was the fact that you went to God. Like you knew that you couldn't do it on your own, but kind of walk us through the journey to where you are now, though. Like you're now at a place where it seems like you're thriving, you're healthy, you're doing well, and you're not necessarily partaking in the same vices, at least from my understanding.
Yeah.
So what kind of got you to the point of, one, the new track that you're on, but also thriving in it, because you're doing extremely well, and like it's like almost to a point where you're helping others as well now. So kind of walk us through that in terms of where you are currently, how you got there, and like what's the biggest advice you can give to anyone who wants to get to where you are right now?
Yeah, I would say that the biggest thing was, and I'm not no religious freak or anything like that, right? Like I believe your relationship with God is how you make it. So my relationship with God is stronger than cement, concrete, because He understands my heart. He knows where I want to go and what I want to do, right? So I'm not going to sit here and try to like preach to nobody. But for me, I've noticed every time I try to do something on my own will, it never works, right? And only works when I ask God what He wants me to do, right? And when I ask Him what He wants me to do, it works out the way He wants it to work out, right? Like I think a lot of people fall in the trap of like, especially with social media and things like that, like, hey man, I want money. Man, I want this. I want to be that. Like instead of just saying, God, what you want me to do? Because He doesn't want His children to suffer, right? He's gonna give you everything you need. It's not what you think you need. He gonna give you everything He thinks you need. And I think that's the biggest disconnect. And when I started realizing that, that's when more doors started opening up. That's when a lot of things started opening up. And my biggest thing, my biggest vision, or my biggest goal now, or I feel like what God put me on the earth to do, is to impact others. That's the whole purpose of me opening up come up the LLC and, you know, building all these different things. It's because I want to help impact people and give them a positive light that most people don't get, right? Like most people that have been normal, quote unquote, in a sense, I want to give them that feeling of like, all right, I have something of my own. So like that inspiring. I want to inspire them to be like, all right, cool, you can get it. Because what I've noticed is in my short time on this earth, a lot of people don't think they can do a lot of things. Like a lot of people think like, hey, yeah, I'm just 9 to 5. I'm like, why can't you be the business owner? Why can't you be the CEO of that? Oh, that's just not me. Says who? Right? And even at work, right? I took on this thing. One of my coworkers, she told me, she said, I never played golf, right? She told me, she said, oh yeah, you can't break 100 in golf by January 1 of this year. And I said, why can't I? She said, because it's too hard. She's like, it's only 5% of people can break 100. I was like, all right, cool. Let me prove you wrong. Because I feel like by me doing that, then it opens up her eyes like, damn, you know, if he said he can do that, he can do anything. But I'm like, if I can do that, so can you. But anyway, circle that back around. I went down that journey, and I feel like by me just trusting in God and just kind of being in alignment with Him, it kind of opened things up. Like, and I'm not perfect by a strong me. I still drink. Martell is my drink, so I still drink my cognac. And I still vibe out, right? I still like, I do everything else as everybody else does, but like I make sure that spiritually, like when I pray and I talk to God, I want to make sure I'm in line with Him. And as long as I'm in line with Him, it don't matter if I'm in Djibouti, it don't matter if I'm in Iraq, Antarctica, or Australia, I'm gonna be good. So yeah.
Definitely. One, I just want to commend you on the journey you've been on, because honestly, it's a testament that anything you put your mind to, you can do, but also understand anything that if you put your trust and faith in God, that He'll bring you through every time, because God is a father. So He's going to allow you to take some setbacks, but He's going to always equip you to go back. He's going to say, like, you think about it like in boxing. Like next time, make sure you dip, you dodge, and then He's going to throw you back out there to go fail again, then He's going to bring back, keep teaching you. So that's life. I think the biggest thing that I took away is like what God wants you to do is what you're always going to work at. So I'm thinking back to the fact that you brought up the idea of LLC and impacting others. I think that's powerful. So kind of tell us more about the LLC of the podcast that you're going to be doing, and also in terms of what the overall goal is and kind of how you plan on getting there. Okay,
so the LLC is Motivate and Inspire. So I'm gonna host a lot of things under that umbrella. The overall thought process or image is I really want to start with people that have impacted my life growing up, right? A lot of people that I've known growing up that has poured into me, I see them now and they struggle, or they don't see their true value or true worth. So if I'm able to impact them and helping them live out their dreams, then I want to do that. So I want to start there first. And from there, I want to help them come up with a business plan of what they want to do. And from there, fund that and get them to that level. It's crazy. I'm putting this out in the air, so I got to make it happen now, right? So that's what I wanted to do, and start there. And then from there, just slowly but surely start helping out others just around, like hear different things. Like, all right, cool. Somebody's trying to do this. Okay. What's your way to get there? What's your business plan? How serious are you? Where's your sweat equity? What have you done to get there? And then from there, help them and build that out. Because people talk about creating change, and people talk about, oh yeah, man, why not us? Why not us? But what are y'all doing to do that? Right? What are y'all doing to do that? Not a lot of people are doing anything. Like I would say, like one of the craziest things right now, I don't even know if I could shout him out, but like I follow this guy on Instagram, the Master Investor, Ian Dunlap. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Like the financial knowledge that he's giving and he's empowering and giving to people, you can't take that from anybody. He's changing people's lives, right? And changing that generational gap by giving free knowledge. Now you talk about what the impact that is, that's going to impact generations, right? So it's like, that's somebody that say, yeah, I want to make a change. I want to give back to our community, our population, our people. This is how I'm doing it, right? A lot of people talk it, but they don't have any actions behind it. So that's the reason behind the LLC. And then of course the whole podcast network that I'm trying to create is getting like-minded individuals that, have a message like yourself, right? This is super dope, right? This whole experience, like, tell me about yourself, like what happened in the pandemic. That's super dope. And other people, like I have other friends that, you know, have women empowerment, or like another podcast coming out with like just to the youth, you know, empowering the youth, help them understand and decide from male perspective, like how to be a man, like how to treat a woman, how to take care of your finances, right? Like different struggles, like how me and you talked about, you're from New York, I'm from Florida, right? Similar struggles, but different paths, right? Yep. So it's like that kind of thing. And a whole bunch, a lot of differences. I can go on forever. But those come on my whole premise. And then at the end of the day, my mindset is like, I want to be legendary. Like when you die, what are people going to say about you? Are they going to say, yeah, Kenneth Harper, he did this, and forget? Or are they going to be like, dang, he really impacted a lot of lives. And he served his purpose. He did what God's will was. See what I'm saying? Like people talk about, oh, Nipsey. Like Nipsey had a lot of things that he was going to do, and he was working. He was making those strides. But how many people also like live and breathe that like how he did? A lot of people talk it, but they don't do it. Because you look at his old videos like 10, 15 years ago when he was talking about Crenshaw, when he dropped that, right? Mailbox Money, when he dropped that, he was practicing what he was preaching. He didn't just pop up and like, hey, yeah, this is me now. Right. So when people caught on to Victory Lap, he been was doing this. He been was doing all that. So it's like he was really making a difference, but we need more people that's really making a difference, showing the actions and less talking.
I'm literally speechless. It's because everything you're saying right now sounds so prophetic. It's like, I truly believe that we're always where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there. And this has been awesome. From, I guess, sweat equity, who was pouring. One thing I definitely, because it ties in so well with road recovery, who is pouring into you and who are you pouring into? That's so, the people surrounding you and your environment is a huge influence on you. And this is important to how you kind of see the world. Like similar to earlier, we were talking about certain people who've never left Gainesville. And when they go to Miami, that's like they went to the moon.
Yeah.
So if these people are influencing your decisions, you are fucked. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they've never seen anything. Like, yeah. This is their world. I won't say they didn't see anything because I don't want to ever discredit someone's journey. But yeah, what they've seen is this. But you're trying to maneuver a world that is this large. So if you're taking the advice from someone who's only seen this for this, you're always going to be a step behind, or you're always going to be a scenario, or any way you think you put it, it's going to be failure because you're not prepared for the actual game, time, speed, anything. Yeah. You want to relate back to sports. So I think everything you said is vital for anyone who's just trying to maneuver life. Surround yourself with people like your mother, like your wife, like the coaches that you were working with who are in it with you. They're on that same ship with you, trying to attain the same goal. If the people you're surrounded with aren't trying to achieve what you're trying to achieve, then that's not the people for you. And you can still love them from a distance, but it's different things like that I got in today's conversation that has been super dope and that I'm going to hold with me forever. But now, before we even wrap this thing up, I think of the second half of the segment as more like the after party. And I want to kind of speak about lighter things because Kenny Harper is more than just a military person, the athlete. Like, he's an individual who knows pop culture. I remember, like, you love shoes just as much as I did.
Yeah. So, yeah. I still got them in the room right now. Yeah.
Exactly. So the first thing I want to ask, like everybody who comes to my show, is your top 5 sneakers. If you had to rank them right now, what are your top 5 shoes that you currently possess?
Top 5. So I am a 4s guy. I have a lot of 4s. So my top sneaker I got is definitely the Lightning 4s. The original OGs from I think it was 2004. I got them when we was at Temple. Man, I paid like $800 for them things. Those are my babies for sure. I wear them out. What else? Military blue 4s there's probably, I would take that back. Military blue 4s be number 3. The cool blue 3s, them things is cold to me. Like, I remember you had a pair too, right? We had different, but like them things is cold to me. That would be my number 2. Then Military Blues is number 3. Number 4 will be the Olympia's, the Sevens.
Okay.
And then what will be number 5? I'm gonna change it up. Number 5 is gonna be weird. I got these. I got them right here.
This number 1.
Huh?
It's number 1.
My number 1 is the Lighthouse.
Okay. So that
I
was
went
number
from
1
to 5. My bad.
Got you.
So I did it opposite way. My bad. Number 5. I know this is not even a real sneaker. This is more like I got these Coach boots. I know it's gonna be. That's when I feel like I stepped into my grown man.
Yeah.
So I got those I'm like, when I put them on, you can't tell me much, right? Because it's like silent drip. They run me like, I think it was like 400 or 500. I put them on. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, got one little cuff on the jeans, like, you know, I'm like doing it. Something like, you know what I mean? But yeah, those would be my 5 though.
Now, what made you fall in love with shoes?
Never had none. Right? So like, I tell people this, when I was growing up, I wore Shaqs in elementary. I had Sauconys, or I think I said it wrong, Sauconys or whatever. I had those.
I say Sauconys, so I don't know.
Yeah, Saucony, right? And like my mom, like I really didn't have much, right? So like I used to wear them things like till they had holes in them. Like people talk about, oh, your holes, like I had holes in them. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I had kicks. I ain't have no kicks. My first pair of Jordans I got was the Chicago, the White Sox, those ones with the pinstripe. Those were my first pair of Jordans I got, and I got them when I was in 11th grade. And then after that, it was like, all right, cool. That was like my first J's. And then when I got to Temple, I was, you know, you get to Pell, you get a little bit. I was like, all right, I'm buying all sneakers. But people used to think like, oh yeah, he's materialistic. I'm like, bro, I never had any of these. So this is wild to me. Like for the military blue fours, Jalen will tell you this, I didn't even eat that week. Cause I said I'm saving my money to grab them. I'm standing in line and grab them. Like I was just so fascinated with sneakers, and I just thought it was like essential with my apparel. Like everything I wore, like okay, yeah, you can have this could be all trash up top. Well, your kicks is fire. It's a wrap. You can't tell you nothing.
You can't. I love speaking with people about their journeys and stories because you see so many parallels where it's just like. We could be in the same room, in the same circle, but you'll understand you're just like someone. You just don't never spoke to them to understand it. But that's crazy. But I want to talk about music now.
Yeah.
Like in terms of, because you're from Florida, went to school in Philly, but you didn't travel the world from military and your life experiences. So what's like right now, if we were to get in the car and take an hour-long trip, what are the first 5 songs in your playlist that you're going to play? Because I'm about you. I'm only saying 5 because it's an hour-long trip, but aux core bully is real. Like I'm definitely taking the aux and I'm playing my shit. So
yeah, no, I would say I've been bumping your tape. Like I told you, I was bumping your tape the last 2 days just straight. So that's been going heavy. Outside of right now, I would say it's gonna be Future, Wayne, Dirt, Baby. And then I've been on a Thugger wave crazy. Thug, like that last album, Pump. People say, oh, it's okay. I think that joint's crazy. I think it's crazy.
I think so too, because like making your own album gives you a bigger appreciation from people who are vulnerable and telling their true, authentic story.
Yeah.
Like we're so, I guess you could say that not brainwashed, but we're so numb to music because everything is so bubblegum right now. But when somebody's actually telling their story, we're calling it trash because we're still expecting the same equation that we're being like given, or the same formula that we're just getting shoved in our face every day.
Like that Die Slow is powerful. That song Die Slow.
Yes.
And people actually listen to what he's saying in there. That joint was crazy. Anyway.
No, seriously. But you gave us artists. So I want to go songs.
My songs. Okay, my bad.
Nah, you good.
My bad. The 5 songs I gotta play, it's gonna be one's gonna be March Madness. I'm gonna play that. That's an anthem. I'm probably gonna play TikTok.
Okay.
You gotta tell you. So then I'm gonna play The Voice of the Heroes. I'm probably gonna play. Man, that's a hard one. You hit me with that. I might play on some throwback. I might play Upgrade You, Drought 3. And then the last one would probably just be something out the blue, something you never heard of. Maybe like some Migos, or probably, I probably play Migos Autopilot.
Okay.
Because when I be in my car, I be
vibing.
I just boom, like bending the corners hard. Like,
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, getting a car or getting your license first and then driving alone was one of the biggest flexes ever of part of life. Like that's when you really felt like a man, because that's when you try to really appreciate music. When you drive into the beat, like that's a whole different story. But
I was driving a minivan. My mom used to let me drive the minivan. I was whipping the minivan like that joint was a Porsche.
Bro.
Great town and country Chrysler. Big body. Slide the door. Everybody hop in, bro. We out. We're going to McDonald's.
Mm-hmm. I ain't gonna lie to you though. Since I got older, now that I am I guess a law-abiding citizen and understand life, I do not trust people with minivans on the road, bro. They drive reckless as shit, and they have nothing to lose. Like, bro, imagine you're a father with 7 kids. You are over it when you get that minivan. Like, you got that for, it's not luxury. That is a serviceable use, and you trying to get from point A to B because, like,
you trying to risk it all. Like, watch out. You know what I mean? I gotta go to soccer practice.
Yo. But like anybody who owns a minivan, it's no disrespect to you. I'm just saying, like, I've seen on numerous occasions. But one thing I want to say before we get into the last part of the segment is there anything you want to leave people with in terms of last words that kind of help them get through tough days, or if they're on their own personal journey? And because a lot of days, one thing I want to say is that in terms of life, none of us know. Like, we're all just trying to figure this shit out. But if there's any tips and tricks that you can kind of help them get through those tough days, so that when they go to those days of sunshine and those days of where they're riding highs, they can continue, but days when they're feeling their lowest possible, what's going to get them back to those like places of joy and peace?
I would say the two things that helped me for sure is, shout out to Captain Robinson, Major Robinson now, is you can't, when I was in the Army, right, he used to, like, I'm talking about, he's different mentally, always going hard. So I used to try to compete, like, all right, cool, I'm gonna beat him, right? But he's like, you can't compete with anybody but yourself. Because if you compete with somebody, then wherever their top is, that's where you stop. So for me, it's like every day I'm trying to be a better version than I was yesterday. And I really mean that. Like, okay, what did you do before? Whatever you set, that boundary that you set, let's pass that. Like, that's always my thought process. Even when I'm like working out. All right, cool. Yeah, you did this. Like, look how you was at Temple. Look how you was when you came back. Like, surpass that. You can get back to that. You can always get back to that. You can always strive for more. That, and then also, you know, how do you want to be remembered? Like, how do you want your kids to remember you? How do you want your family to remember you, right? Do you want them to remember you as somebody that was a fighter or somebody that gave up? I feel like that's really impactful, because a lot of people, especially when you talk about social media a lot, because most people spend their lives on social media. But it's like, that's not real, right? And it doesn't matter at the end of the day. What matters is the impact that you leave on the loved ones around you. So, like, how do you want them to remember you? Like, and if you give up or you quit, then that's a reflection of who you are. So you don't want to give that. So in my mind, it's like, all right, I want them to know that I'm a fighter, and I know I'm a fighter, so I got to keep that representation at all times, no matter how hard it is.
Bro, yeah, thank you. That's confirmation. Like, for me personally, and for anyone else, I hope you guys received that, because you're preaching right now. But last but not least, for this segment, I interview for a living. Like, I mean, I do other things outside of that, but like, I'm usually interviewing people and trying to figure out exactly if they're a good fit, because one of the things I do outside of music and everything else is I'm a head of diversity and inclusion. So the one thing I like about interviews is the fact that in every interview, when you're interviewing somebody for a role, is you say, what questions do you have for me? And a lot of times in pop culture and different things, they never allow that, where the person gets asked you questions. So are there any questions or anything you want to ask me about like the interview or anything that you want to ask me? And I'm open. I want to.
All right, cool. So let me put my my hat on, my question hat on. All right. So my first question is, what helps you get your creative juices flowing when you're in the studio? Right, being an artist. Right, I'm a freestyler. I just freestyle. But that's not making real music. What helps you make real music when you're in the studio? Like, what gets you going?
So the biggest thing I'll say is that I'm a car person. So like a lot of my creative ideas come in the car. And I'll bring it back to this. I started making music because I was working in New York on Wall Street, and I used to have an hour and a half commute every day to work. So hour and a half there, hour and a half back. And when you're doing this every day over a certain period of time, music gets extremely old. Because you listen to the same playlist and like it's just, I don't know how to explain it. So there's certain things that certain times I'll hear songs and they weren't singing the way I wanted it. So I started singing over the song. And it was just like, yo, I could do this shit. Like I'm gonna start writing my own music. Right. Long story short, it turned from me listening to music on the rise there and back to me listening to instrumentals there and back. And obviously, like the first couple of times you do it, it's just trash. Like you just like, I have never let anybody hear this.
Listen, no dark takes when you listen to mine.
But what I will say is that over time, it was just like, let me send it to somebody and see what they say. And you send it to them, and it's just like, bro, like, you might got something right here. You know what I mean? Because like, you have, like before we said, you built an executive board, and they're going to tell you like, I'll put it this way, you need the right people around you. You don't need people who are going to be yes men or no men. You need people who are going to say, listen, I say, if I came to you right now and I say, yo, Kenny, I want to start a cookie company. And you're going to say, all right, but let's just make sure those cookies are good, or we have the right ingredients so this shit lasts longer and we're not wasting money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Those, let's just make sure people. So the people, if it was trash, they're going to tell you that. But I had the right people saying like, all right, I can see the vision of it. I can hear it. There's potential there, but let's just make sure. So I had the right people saying that to me. And in terms of music, to get back to your original question, I was in the car. I wanted to hear what the sounds I wanted to hear. So I started creating music for me for my rides. So there's a whole bunch of songs that's never been released that I was making solely because that's what I wanted to hear going forward. And I finally got to a point where I had the confidence and the courageousness enough to like finally start putting it out into the world. And that's kind of where my creative process comes from. It's me being vulnerable, wanting to hear a certain sound, but also knowing the content I wanted to hear as well. Like I wanted certain positive affirmations. So if you heard songs like Dim Your Light, there was a lot of times where I was having dark days where I needed something like that I wanted to hear going to work, because sometimes work is hard. Like you don't always feel like your best, or if you're a woman, you don't feel your prettiest. If you're a man, you don't feel your strongest. And I wanted something that's going to help me through those days, but there are also times where I felt dark and I wanted something that resonated with that. So that's kind of where my creative process came from. I went to wherever I was feeling and what I wanted to hear in that moment, and that's how I created that content.
That's super dope. That's super dope. I just have to come one day to a studio session and be in there. Like I feel like that's a key what you said about having the right people in your corner, because I got a few homeboys that rap or sing or whatever, and they send me tracks just because they're like, all right, I know Harp gonna give me a like honest opinion and feedback. And having that like that last step, that confidence to like, all right, cool, this is good enough to go. I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people don't, because a lot of people don't believe in themselves because they're worried about what somebody else is going to do. Meanwhile, your track, your album sound doper than the last 10 albums this person didn't drop. But what's the difference? People know you, so they be like, oh, that's just Maj. You know what I mean? He ain't nothing. But you listen to this dude, he's like, yeah. You're like, what? Like, what you talking about? But if they took it all right and they put their name on your album, then they like, oh, bro, this is fire. Like, that's crazy. Bro. But my second question is going to be, 5 years from now, where do you see yourself?
5 years from now. It's crazy because I remember before and I was thinking about this. So I've been out of Temple now for 5 years. And I was thinking about this. I'm exactly where I thought I would be 5 years from Temple. But I didn't get there the way I thought I would. I mean, being flat honest with you, like if you're thinking about from a standpoint of like you come into college, you don't come to college like I'm gonna get a degree and go to a job. I'm gonna come to college, I'm going to league, I'm gonna take care of my family, I'm gonna provide, I'm gonna have a big house, I'm going to be known for like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna leave an impact, I'm gonna be helping my family. my biggest thing was I wanted to help my family. I'm doing it. I wanted to have a big house. I did that. I wanted to be able to travel the world and have new experiences, because growing up, like, it was a big thing for me to get on a plane for the first time before I started playing basketball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've done everything I wanted to do. Only difference was I didn't do it the way I wanted to. But there was one constant through all of it. God. Like, God made sure that he heard the prayers. He knew exactly what I said I wanted to do, and he let me do it. It just wasn't on my schedule or on my time or the way I wanted to do it. So 5 years from now, where I see myself, I feel like I still want to be leaving an impact. I don't know if you actually heard the album Truth, but if you ever get a chance, listen to Truth. That's the first one. So it's a mixtape, but the first one that came out last year.
Is it on Spotify?
It's on everything. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll run it back. Because I probably played Age to Death already. So anyway.
It's crazy. If you listen to Road to Recovery and like go back to Truth makes actually more sense now, because you understand the backstory of what Truth was about. So Truth was like my year on fire. And like, what do you do once you come to that realization? Like, prime example for you, your year was on fire, you was in Iraq. And then when things, like, now you're in your road to recovery, because you're getting from that place where you were. You got to that place where you had that tough conversation. Like, for some people, for me, I was alcoholic. For some people, you have that conversation knowing that you're a piece of shit. Like, you know what I mean? So that's what Truth was. If you listen to it though, I talk about in the first song off the track I performed about how I gave 100 kids 100K salaries. Excuse me. These are minority kids who, like, it changed the trajectory of their lives, their families, and everything. So that was like my goal before, was to like be in a position of impact. Now I want to be in a place where I'm the bag. I want to be the person who's providing like the educational opportunities to get them to the point of when they finally be able to get a job. Like, we're already beyond that. You know, before you even get to this point, that's a guarantee. I want to help you make the collegiate experience, the high school experience, so much easier, that you don't have to have those depression, anxiety days, and like those dark days of feeling like you're not enough, or the imposter syndrome. Like, I felt that. I went to an all-white private school. I went to a place where, even in football, like, I was a basketball player, so when I came in there, it fucking imposter syndrome. Like, I wasn't a person who came there feeling like this was what I wanted to do. I felt like I had to do it, to do whatever I wanted to. Past that, moving into that point, I want people to understand that you don't have to play sports or sing music. You can go into science. You can go into fashion. You can, whatever you want to do, you can do it. Just understand that you're going to have a work ethic. You're going to need to surround yourself with people who are going to keep it real with you, but also humble you and keep you grounded. And also understand that you're going to have to, I don't want to say God first, but understand you're going to have to be morally well-rounded.
Aligned. You're going to have to be morally aligned.
You're going to have to be a person with integrity, because that's what's going to help you moving forward. So 5 years from now, I want to be someone that, I want to be someone 5 years from now that you can send your daughter to me and say, listen, she wants to go to this school and I can help her do that. Or you can send one of your friends to me and say he wants a job and I can do that. 5 years from now, I want to be someone who can truly be the plug. Like, and I want that to be in such a positive manner that it's like he's really the plug, not like on some like illegal like backstreet shit. I'm talking about the real plug, where it's just like, I'm helping everybody do whatever they want to accomplish. That's what I want 5 years from now. Will I reach it? I have to do it now because I said it, but
I told you. Hey, you put it on tape. So since we put it on the video, it's like it's over now. Like, everything that was inside of the mind, you put it out. So it's like, oh, they're gonna hold you to it. Because if anything, people are gonna be like, oh, you said on the episode that. So.
But that makes sense though?
No. It's so like, you have the same mindset I have, because that's kind of like where I'm on, right? And like you said, like, I want to be the plug, right? For me, it's like the same way. It's like, I know that I don't care about money, but I know that you need money to help people get to where they want to go, right? Yeah. So I know that if I am that seed, right, and people are like, hey, I want this business, that business, and I'm like, boom, here you go, boom, here you go, and that's a jump starter, right? I'm that catalyst to help them get there. Then it's like, boom, I'm trying to do the same thing, right? So when you said that, it connected exactly with my mindset.
Definitely.
So
go ahead.
I was about to say, my last question is, like I said, right, when it's all said and done, what do you want people to remember you as?
That's a good question.
If they had three words, they say who you are, what would you want people to remember you as?
That's a great question. The reason I say it's a great question is because, like, I went through different phases of life. I went through the phase of an athlete. now a lot of people have kind of transitioned from athlete to artist. Like some people really resonated with like the album from True to Care Package, Now Road Recovery. I think the biggest thing I want people to, when I leave, is to understand I'm human. And I hope that through Road to Recovery, they understood that. Like I walked you through my darkest places. I walked you through my highs, like pop my shit and champagne vibes, but also walked you through a standpoint of like, I understand that I'm not where I want to be yet. And what I mean by that is like, if you listen to Dim Your Light and Last Call, I'm talking about like, I'm still not shit. I'm just trying, I'm a person working, a work in progress, trying to get to where I'm going. So I think the three words that make the most sense is human, humble, and hungry. And like,
Triple H.
Like I'm human, like I do fuck up, make mistakes, but I'm humble about it. Like I understand that I have work to do, but I'm hungry. So even though I'm not where I want to be and I have fucked up, I'm working though. I'm working to get to where I want to be. I'm working to be the person that you can come to in your time of need and know that you can depend on me. I'm working to be the person that's going to one day be a confident father, be a confident husband, be a confident son, be a confident brother, and going to be the person that the people around me and people who love me and know me can be proud to say like, that's my guy, like, that's my dad, that's my brother, that's my friend, that's my son. You know what I'm saying? Like it's things like that. So I want people to say human, humble, and hungry. Because at the end of the day, when you die, like the money, the materials, I don't want to say that I was fly, but you can't take none of that with you. But I mean, you can be casket sharp, but you can't take it with you.
But it don't matter at that point. You know?
Yeah, you know what I mean? So if they can say those three things, that like, yo, every time I was around him, I felt genuine love and I felt like I got the real him. Or they can say that like, nah, we had a blast. Like I felt like I wasn't judged. We just had, you know what I'm saying? If I can have those moments, I can't ask for more.
I like that. That's it. I don't have nothing else to ask. That's it. That's solid right there.
But the last question I got for you, because you are the first person, so this is special. Like, this is the first interview since Road to Recovery came out. So I gotta like ask the person who's come on the show, like, so initial thoughts of Road to Recovery, favorite tracks, and like, was it what you expected?
To be honest with you, I've heard some clips, right? And it was like, all right, man, bro probably got some. I know he can sing, right? I know he can sing. So it's like, I'm gonna give it a chance, right? You know, some people, you listen to it. My first time listening to it, I was like, all right, let me just listen.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until I picked a couple of tracks out and I was like, all right, man, I like that. When I listened to it today though, when I sent you that text this morning, I was like, nah, bro, really, I don't know if it's because I was out there breathing hard and grinding, but I'm like, bro, really in his bag, like he really got something here. Like the Road to Recovery really hit different. And when I listened to it at work, because like you said, like your music gets monotonous over time. You're like, I hear the same things over and over again. And I listen, that's something different. Then I'm like, I was saying it at work, right? So like, I told you, let me look back again so I don't butcher the names. But I know for sure the intro, how you come in on the intro, it set you up. Are you worth my peace? That joint is just, it felt like, I'm like, I feel exactly what he feels in that, on that track. It's like, I don't know why, but it kind of like me talking today, like the story, that's what it felt like going through that. Let me see what else we got on here. Sorry, let me turn it down. Mom always, falling apart. That's it. I'm not gonna do it because I'm trying to look at the track list. Don't worry about it. I ain't gonna do all that. But no, look, people think I'm lying. Yeah,
right.
It's on there, man. Like, man, no, he just listened. He just talking. Now I was listening to it all today. Like, so you probably got at least 60 plays from me alone.
Just today. I appreciate it.
But yeah, the intro. Shout out to Trey Hood. That track, what was that? Championships? What was that? What's that song?
Champagne Vibes.
Champagne, yeah. That joint hit. Pop My Shit. That was two. Like, and Pop My Shit, I can tell you is getting into your bag a little bit. I can see you breaking out your shell.
Bro, Pop My Shit was a freestyle too. Like it wasn't like there was nothing like fake about it. I was like, I had just found out that I was dealing with some health issues. I just found out I was good to go.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm gonna share for this. Like, but I just got clear to go, and like the Krista, I was in the room, Money was in the room. We were just like, I'm gonna pop my shit. But like, it was a journey. It was a true process and road to recovery. And that's what it says, like road to recovery. Throughout making the album, my grandmother passed, so that's why I said Sally's grandchild. But throughout the entire process, like I wore my heart on my sleeve. So when you see failure, sad, doubt, and fear, and then over here you have faith, hope, smile, and love. Like that's genuine. Like as men, we always like say be a man, but as men, we wear our heart on our sleeve. And on the back of it, I have the double cut broken heart, because I'm a heartbreak kid at heart. Like it's, at the end of the day, if you go back to the music I first started creating to now, I never changed. It's just now that you started paying attention to it. Yeah. So like now, before I had people's curiosity throughout different posts, and it's just like, I wonder what you got going over there.
Yeah.
Road to Recovery was like, nah, he got your attention now.
Pull that curtain back. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But now I'm glad to receive phenomenal feedback so far. I'm glad for the amount of people who felt inspired by it and the journeys that people have been on. Because I found out things about people just like they found out things about me. It's like, damn, like I didn't know you were battling that. But if we did know, but now that we do know, we can help and support each other as resources. But everything happens for a reason. It happens when it's supposed to. But this conversation has been amazing. I've learned so much throughout this time. I was taking notes, so I wasn't being rude when I was looking down. Just like I want to continue working and becoming a better me. I hope this was like valuable for you. Like in terms of, I hope you felt like you were able to relieve some things on your shoulder. Sure. I also feel like you learned some things about yourself throughout the entire time. But or about for me when you asked me my questions. But
I felt like I didn't mean to cut you off. I felt like the vulnerability. Like I never, like what I said today, I never really told anybody that. Tosh knows, a couple people know bits and pieces, but like sitting there and being like, hey man, you came so far, it doesn't matter. Like you came so far, just put it out there. Like I hope that's impactful to some people. I hope that, resonates with some people to know like, hey, you could be here and you can fall down, you can get back up, you can fall down again, you can still get back up. So no, I definitely appreciate you having me on the show, bro, on the podcast. It definitely was impactful. Definitely was great hearing you, share your knowledge, right? Even though I only asked you 3 questions, right? It was still like, you can tell that you in a good space, right? And you can tell that the stuff that you're saying is actually genuine. And I definitely will keep in touch, and I know we'll continue as we go on and throw ideas off each other and like everything. If you need anything from me, I mean that 100%. I'm here. I don't say that, just to say, because I know a lot of people do, and everybody knows that know me. If I say it, that's what I mean. So
definitely,
whatever you need, bro, I got you, and keep it going.
I'm gonna tell you the same thing. I'm gonna tell you the same thing I tell my boys from like Reef, Clay, and Blade on them, and even the same thing I told Sal. You're stuck. Like we've already been family because everything we've been through together, but like nah, this is just the beginning. But I want to thank you today from the bottom of my heart, because I truly appreciate the gems you dropped today, because I became a better person today from the information you have shared. To everyone out there, please go out and stream Road to Recovery.
Do that.
Even if you don't like it, fuck it. Like, I mean, it's still something you can learn from it.
Right, exactly. If you're going to comment, if you're going to say you don't like something, you can't say you don't like something and don't leave critique. That doesn't help. Leave critique, man.
Definitely, and I'm open to it. People will tell you I'm open to it. So like everything that people gave me from truth, I made sure I worked in and credit to the growth of Road Recovery. But thank you guys. Listen, at the end of the day, what do I know? Thank you for listening to another episode of Road to Recovery. I'm your guy, Maj, aka Oxcore Bully, aka Big Sexy with the glasses. No one's today, but until next time, be blessed. I love ya.
Peace.